Hey everybody, we are live, and in any minute now, or second, I think, the Oakland Unified School District will start its press conference on something called the Stimulus Pledge Campaign. And I believe, right, so make sure that this is muted and then shared up there in internet land, among the internets. Boom. And I should edit this to read live stream. Edit. Done. Okay. Okay. Save changes. I got an idea. Let's see here. Edit video. There. And there. And save. All right. All right, so made some adjustments here, and it looks like we're starting, folks. We are. And
good morning, everybody. We'll get started in just a minute or two. Still waiting for some people to get on with us. Thank you for joining us.
For some reason this is sticking. Don't know why. Oh, interesting. We have started. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. We started, folks. Let me recenter.
Mayra, ¿puede poner su micrófono en mudo ahorita? Por favor. Gracias.
Exit full screen. Go here. One moment, folks. That's not there. It is. That's interesting. There's the Zoom meeting. There's the video. Okay.
Zanning, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, man. How are you doing? Oh, excuse me. I'm great, man. How you doing?
See you.
Great to see you too. Great to be seen.
Someday in the not too distant future, maybe we won't be doing these Zoom press conferences anymore.
Actually, this has been great for my business.
Well, I suppose that's true. I suppose that's true. All right, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we get going here? Let me see. Looks like there's one just getting on now. Someone entitled News. So a nice vague description there. All right. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for joining us this morning. I'm John Sasaki. I'm Communications Director for the school district. Last name is S-A-S-A-K-I. Here. Today we are talking about our students and helping our students, specifically the students who've had the biggest struggles with learning in this age of distance learning through the computer, doing classrooms like we're doing this press conference right now. This is a stimuluspledge.org campaign that we've got going on, and about 30 schools are involved in this campaign, raising funds to help those individual schools help the collective as well. We're talking schools like Bridges Academy, Emerson Elementary, International Community School, Think College Now, Elmhurst United Middle School, East Oakland Pride, East Oakland High, Oakland International High School, Melrose Leadership Academy, and a whole host of others. And so we're just talking about what really is the issue, what has been the problem that some of these students have been dealing with because of the challenges of distance learning and the lack of personal in-person connection and the things that they've been missing out because of that. And I'm happy to introduce one of our principals who will really be able to describe the challenges that she's seeing at her school and really the problems that we are trying to solve with this campaign. So please welcome Bridges Academy Principal Anita Iverson-Comelo.
Thank you, John. So I'm the principal at Bridges Academy. We are located in East Oakland, and we serve about 450 students. 98% of students qualify for free and reduced lunch and are considered low-income students. And we serve mostly an immigrant population of students and families. When the pandemic hit last year and we had to close our school building, teachers, principals got really worried about our families and our students. We saw a lot of economic distress and financial difficulties that were pretty severe. And so a lot of us decided to give up or donate our stimulus checks to our families. And so at Bridges Academy, for example, we were able to give out $750 to about 200 families each. And that made a big difference to our families. We raised about $250,000, and we were able to distribute those $250,000 through stimuluspledge.org through many of our schools in Oakland. And now that we are opening our doors for in-person instruction, we are ready to focus on students and the learning loss that has happened. Our students and teachers who have opted in to come to school have been so excited, emotionally exhilarating experience for them to be back at school. And so we are now focusing more on and helping get tutoring, one-on-one or small group tutoring for students. So we're raising funds for that. And we would like to invite the public. We would like to invite anyone to donate through our website, stimuluspledge.org, and donate to schools directly that you know of in Oakland, or you can donate to a general fund and we will distribute those funds to various schools in Oakland. So I would like to introduce one of our parents, and then we have someone else from a different school. But first I would like to introduce Mayra Godino, who is a parent of 3 children at our school. One is a kindergartner, one is a first grader, and one is a third grader. Mayra is going to speak in Spanish and I will translate for her. Mayra, ¿puedes esperar en cada unas oraciones para que pueda traducir? So Mayra is going to talk a little bit about how the funds has supported her family. ¿Cómo apoyó a usted el dinero que repartimos en la escuela? And by the way, at Bridges Academy, we are also supporting right now 20 families and paying rent for them because they're unable to pay their rent. Mayra?
Sí, buenos días a todos. Pues quiero agradecer principalmente a todos los que hicieron esta aportación para nosotros. En lo personal, yo quiero compartir. Desgraciadamente, en ese tiempo que recibí esa donación, nos tocó el COVID en casa y como a los 6 días después, pero pude ir y me hablaron de la escuela que pudiera recoger dinero y en ese momento yo no entendía por qué podíamos nosotros tomar ese dinero. Quiero aclarar que pues nos sorprendió, pero al mismo tiempo agradezco porque llegó el dinero en el momento justo de que nosotros nos enfermamos y no teníamos para la renta. Afortunadamente, ese dinero lo usé para ese mes de renta y los siguientes 3 meses que fue terrible porque cada vez era pues sin trabajo, sin poder salir, alimentación, gracias a la escuela y también al condado, la alimentación me llegó, pero lo que más me frustraba era no tener dinero para la renta y tener que salirme con mis hijos. Yo ese dinero lo necesité para la renta en ese momento y les agradezco.
Myra, can we stop and translate real quick? Would that be possible?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and translate. I've been taking notes. So Mayra says, thank you so much to the people who have created this campaign, stimuluspledge.org campaign. Our family was hit by COVID. We were sick with COVID, and it was a nice surprise when we got the funds. We were very grateful. The funds came just in time because when we got sick, we couldn't work for 3 months, and the 3 months were terrible. We couldn't go outside, we couldn't work, and these funds helped us pay the rent. So we are very grateful. We're also grateful to the County of Alameda, the district that has had food delivery to my house, and so I'm very grateful and thankful. I would like to also introduce David Hansen. He is from Oakland International. David, if you want to introduce yourself and say how the funds have supported your families and your students.
Hi, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk. So I'm David Hansen. I'm an assistant principal here at Oakland International High School. Oakland International High School is a school for newcomers. So all of the students are recently arrived in the United States. And with that in mind, I would say, you know, there's a lot of different hardships that those students and families face, particularly during the pandemic. When we, as Anita mentioned, initially when we were looking at the stimulus pledge and how to use this, it was around supporting families with direct aid, particularly around things like rent and loss of employment. For a lot of our families who had lost employment, they weren't able to collect any unemployment from a federal level. Additionally, what we see now with our students, and we're a high school, so a lot of our students now have had to start working sort of in the traditional times that they would be in school to support their families. So with that in mind, that the stimulus pledge has really helped families make it through with things like rent and food and other needed emergency cash aid. And I would say that, you know, as we are now looking at going into, or as we're going into in-person instruction, there are still lots of financial choices that families have to make. So for our young students, for a lot of them, some of the financial choices around whether or not they come to school or they continue trying to work during the day. And so we're trying to help both bridge that and then support students as they're coming into school. So support them with the learning, support them with tutoring, support them with those options. And in a similar fashion, what we see is for our students, you know, with around 300 families, and we've given direct aid to over 200 of those families on a need-based assignment, and approximately the same, around $250,000 we've distributed from the school.
I also want to say stimuluspledge.org campaign is now pivoting to even supporting students directly for the learning loss that has happened. The learning loss that has happened has been great. At Bridges Academy, for instance, our reading inventory scores were increasing 5 to 10% every year for the kids on grade level. And we were removing just as many as percentage of kids from far below basic or multiple years below. But this year, when we look at our reading assessment scores, we see not only have we not added 5 to 10% of kids reading on grade level, we have actually gone down and decreased the percentage of kids that are not reading on grade level, both on the top end where kids reading on grade level and increasing the percentage of kids multiple years below. So the learning loss has been great. In our school, we've had 44 students have been severely to chronically absent from school. even though we've passed out hotspots and we've passed out devices, because of working family schedules, because multiple children using the internet, students have not been able to connect, they get dropped off line. And so the engagement for many students has been less. And also the instructional minutes due to the pandemic has been lessened. So, and besides that, English language learners who need scaffolds like visual aids, hands-on learning, a lot of student-to-student talk to make meaning and to access the pretty academically and language-dense text. Those opportunities are just not there. The scaffolds are just not there on Zoom and online. And so the learning loss has been great. And so we're also, besides supporting families, we also want to support our students in raising these funds so that we can provide extra tutoring and extra differentiated small group instruction for students that need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Hanson. I was wondering if Myra would want to talk about her 3 kids and what they've seen, what the kind of challenges they've experienced because of our situation.
Mayra quiere hablar acerca de los retos que ha tenido sus hijos en el aprendizaje por en línea y cómo han experimentado sus hijos la escuela en línea y cómo es diferente que en persona.
Bueno, mis hijos al principio fue muy difícil, pero gracias a toda la ayuda del personal de Bridges, nos dieron instrucciones para empezar a que nuestros hijos pudieran aprender a la computadora, porque mis hijos son muy pequeños, entonces fue muy difícil que ellos pudieran hasta aprender la computadora, pero hoy en día ya logramos porque yo también aprendí cómo entrar a los diferentes programas y la verdad ya se adaptaron a el nuevo sistema de educación que es por línea. Yo lo que he visto que ellos han avanzado en este cambio de aprender a distancia es que pues ellos ya se empaparon sobre cómo manejar una computadora y es un reto que yo creo que anteriormente lo podían aprender en quinto o en sexto grado, pero ahora mis hijos tuvieron el privilegio de desde kinder, primero y tercero manejar la computadora y los diferentes programas. Y ahora ellos están adaptados a la computadora y más que nada a poner atención con los maestros porque al principio ellos creían que era como una televisión.
So Mayra says that at first it was very, very difficult, but the staff at Bridges has helped the families log on. Has helped her children. Her children are very young, kindergarten, first grade, and third grade, but they have been able to adapt with the help of the staff. Even she's had to learn how to maneuver different platforms online, but they have been able to adjust, and the students have been learning the skills to get online.
Mr. Hanson, did you want to add something there?
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to comment sort of what learning loss looks like at a high school level. So for us, one of the ways we think about our students is, their preparedness to go on to college and their preparedness to go on to a 4-year college. And there's something that's called your A through G graduation rate, which looks at, are you able to access or go to a CSU or a UC? And with newcomer students and students on the whole, that isn't necessarily something that all students are able to do at the end of high school, but our traditional numbers around A through G completion rates are around 60 to 65%, right? We're looking at that number being cut in half. So half as many students would be able to go on to a four-year school as a byproduct of the pandemic. And so that's really the learning loss that we're looking at targeting, is looking at targeting those students who are close to being able to go to college, transition to college, but now don't have that same opportunity. So how can we do that with support for those students? And for us, that does mean sort of setting up individual tutoring sessions, pushing students into summer school programs that meet those needs, but then supporting them with that work as well. Yeah, and so I think all of that is like the work that is ahead of us right now, is coming out on the other end of saying, okay, we want to make sure we safeguard these opportunities for students, and how can we do that?
Let me remind everybody that you know, we've been in the situation for a year. Obviously, it's continuing to a degree, even though we have our schools open now. Our plan, without a doubt, according to the superintendent, is to be open as fully as possible in the fall, and that her vision is a completely full opening that is for all students at every grade level at all of our schools. That's the plan. You know, based on all the progress we've seen with the pandemic, all the progress we've seen with vaccines, and the lowering numbers here in Oakland and Alameda County, as long as those trends continue in the right direction, I think that we're headed towards a very full opening. Yet, you know, because of the past, by then will be a past year and a half, basically, we're still in a situation where there's been this setback to all of our students. And so because of that, you know, we have a lot of ground to make up, and it's most certainly going to take some time, even once our schools are fully open. So with that, how about we open it up to any questions that you have? Go ahead and raise your hand, or type it in the chat, or we can open your mic and you can just ask your question. Does you had a question? You want to start?
Yeah, I did. Is there some idea of what the ideal program size should be? I mean, Mr. Hansen said there was $250,000 for only 200 families. Is that right?
Sure. I think I can respond to what happened at my school site. So for our school site, you know, we're raising funds through stimulus pledge and raising funds sort of through other mechanisms. This is really the first time that we participated in giving what you would call direct aid to families. And so in that sense, we're very much figuring out as it was going along, right? What we were trying to get as much to as many families as we could, in case managing families and families' needs as they came up. Moving forward, I think we're sort of treading back towards more familiar ground, which is, right, how do we support students with learning? And I think we have both more familiarity there and have a lot of strategies we can use to support students there.
Because I asked because it sounds like then from a policy analysis perspective, you're working on an iterative process. That is trying one thing, testing and everything else. But I'm wondering if there's an overarching, you know, business plan, something like that.
Well, we don't necessarily have a business plan, but what we do is each school has a coordination of services team, and that coordination of services team looks at who are the families most in need, who are the students most in need, and looking at the data. For our school, we did wellness checks. We did a questionnaire for every family and asked questions, and that's how we found out which are the most needy families. And that would be different for every school, because the demographics at each school is not the same. So we just go through, most schools will go through the coordination of services team and does an analysis of what the needs are of the families and the students.
Okay, thank you.
And it also depends on how much we raise, yeah.
Right, you know, because I calculated the multiplier is $1,250 per family, which points to if there's a field of 30,000 families that are eligible, it's 37 million. That's not a big number to me. But I'm saying that it seems like you have the seeds of a program that perhaps could be government funded in some type of way, or even with redevelopment money if we go back to that. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and the stimuluspledge.org campaign was specifically designed for families who didn't qualify for the government aid, because a lot of families just didn't qualify for the stimulus checks or for unemployment. And so these were the families most impacted by COVID by getting the illness as well as the income loss. And we're also now wanting to serve the children of the families, because the learning loss also for the families has been great. So it's both of those things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ashley from Oakland side asked a question about OUSD is set to receive hundreds of millions of dollars in COVID relief specifically to address learning loss and support in-person learning. Why is there still a need to fundraise? I don't know where you got that number, but my understanding is we are not getting hundreds of millions of dollars. That is not an accurate number. I will get the accurate number for you, but I think it's more in the neighborhood of $20 million. And so. Yeah,
300 million. You got to be crazy.
I don't know where that number $300 million is coming. Can you tell me where you got that number, Ashley?
Yeah, it came from this, let me find it. There was a school board meeting a few weeks ago where they discussed how to spend the COVID relief. And there's, I think, 120 million coming from this most recent package. But let me find the presentation and I can drop the link and you can see the individual amounts.
Can I help you out there for a second? Because I'm on the White House press list, the amount of money that Oakland is getting is 192 million total. So the $300 million, that's a subsidy for something like the Howard Terminal Ballpark. I mean, a lot of educators would love to see that, but it's just not there. I'm sorry.
I also want to say, as a principal of a school, even though I've heard of these funds, I have not had information about what our school is getting for our students directly yet. It may be coming, but I have not heard directly. That's why we're doing our own efforts to raise funds. And also there's a lot of funds needed right now for a lot of just safety protocols at the school. For example, we've had to have plexiglass. We've had to have PPE, face masks, hand sanitizers. We've had to pay extra staff as gatekeepers for checking the daily symptom checks. Our teachers have gotten a stipend for coming in, opting into in-person instruction. And so there's a lot of other costs besides money going directly for serving students and the learning loss. So I hope that there is more money. I don't know what it is yet. And there's also want to say there's a lot of cost for opening the school physically and safely. That's not in the normal functioning of a regular school pre-pandemic.
I will get you, hopefully by the end of this press conference, I will get you the accurate number as to how much we are expecting. But yeah, more than $100 million, that is very much a number that I've never heard. No. So, and I'm not the expert, I admit. So I'm reaching out to some of our staff to find out. We wish. Yeah, no, believe me, I would love hundreds of millions of dollars. But to Anita's point, the need that she's seeing is right now, and so raising some money right now is without a doubt needed to help our students. So, because even no matter how much money we get from the federal government, it's going to take a little bit of time to get here and to be fully accessible for us. So, so let me try to.
Can I jump in real quick too?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
I think what you see also in a lot of different communities, particularly more affluent communities, is that those schools themselves are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to support the return to in-person instruction. And, this is very common practice for PTAs of wealthy schools, even within school districts like in San Francisco, to raise lots of money to support different activities. At the schools that I'm at and work for, families don't have the means and mechanisms to raise that kind of funds to support these types of activities. So when there is a shift or a transfer or a need, we're not able to go to the parent and the parent group to ask for that money. So for us in particular, we do a lot of fundraising constantly to supplement the money that we get coming from the state and coming from the federal government and coming from different sources. And we're doing that because both the needs for the students are there and persist to be there. And also our families don't have the same economic means to support the school in ways that other schools do.
Are there other questions? And as I said, I'm trying to verify all of this, but are there other questions?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Great.
I just want to end by saying thank you so much for being here, and to please, if you are going to put this out through your channels, to make sure you spell out stimuluspledge.org. That's where we want the public to go to if they would like to donate or pledge their stimulus checks.
Oh, just as an FYI, this is already on live stream, and the link that you provided through John is live, so they can go there right now.
Thank you so much, Sunny.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, Ashley, I will be in touch with those numbers, and anybody else who has questions about it, go ahead and reach out to me. Just send me a quick email, and I will be in touch with the specific numbers. I'm looking through this presentation right now, but I'm also verifying with our staff as well. So I will give you a heads up on that. But beyond that, thank you so much. We appreciate Myra for being here, Mr. Hansen, Ms. Iverson-Comelo, thank you so much. And thanks to our media partners for being here. So you guys enjoy the rest of your spring break.
Thanks, John.
I've put my email address, my phone number on chat if anybody wants to contact me.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks, David. Gracias, Mayra, por venir.
Gracias a ustedes por invitarme. Bye. Gracias.
This looks like the Brady Bunch, you know.
Definitely Brady Bunch.
Bunch like that.
See you, John. Over there. Actually, over there.
Thanks again for being here, Zen.
You
Appreciate it. And
No
thanks for carrying it live.
No problem, man. I'll see you. Well, folks, I just left the meeting, and that's the end of that. And I'm actually going to go over, because it's 1:02 now p.m., which is 12 Eastern. There's another live stream I have coming up. That's Tony Busby's show. So I'm going to stop this to go over and start that. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. Oh, Tony Busby's talking about Deshaun Watson and lawsuits and what I consider to be a sham set of lawsuits myself. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. See ya.